Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Natile Sitole, alongside Nomakabiso Nkambule. First up, let's have a look at our headlining stories. The government of Taiwan, together with World Vision Taiwan International, have donated large quantities of rice to Eswatini worth 57 million emalangeni. The Minister for Finance has asked Parliament to thoroughly apply itself when amending the Regional Development Fund regulations. The Minister of Agriculture says the sector suffered losses amounting to over 11 million emalangeni during the recent unrest. And now the news in detail. The government of Taiwan, together with World Vision Taiwan International, have donated large quantities of rice worth 57 million emalangeni. The donation was handed over by Taiwan Embassy Ambassador Jeremy Liang to the Deputy Prime Minister Tem Masuku at the National Disaster Management Agency workshop in Matapa.
The bags of rice, which were donated to Eswatini by the government of Taiwan and World Vision Taiwan International, are estimated to be at 3,400 metric tons. This donation is expected to feed at least 200,000 less privileged Emaswati in all 59 constituencies. Taiwan Ambassador to Eswatini Jeremy Liang says the donation is particularly important as it highlights the strength of relations between Taiwan and Eswatini.
Today's ceremony is particularly significant as it spotlights the strength of relations between Taiwan and Eswatini. A friend in need is definitely a friend indeed, and I'm proud to play my humble part in ensuring we leave no one behind in Eswatini.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku expressed appreciation to the government of Taiwan and World Vision for this kind gesture. Masuku says the donation comes in a time when many households in Eswatini are trying to deal with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Seen them come in at a time when we needed help. A friend indeed in need is a friend indeed, and this has played true in the relations between these two countries. We also want to appreciate World Vision International.
World Vision Eswatini Country Program Director Banele Nkambule says government played a pivotal role in bringing the consignment of rice to Eswatini through the National Disaster Management Agency, which mobilized resources and injected significant complementary funding for the transportation of this donation.
This initiative is in line with our new 5-year strategy, which part of it focuses on improving food production at household level, as well as providing humanitarian assistance, especially on the areas of chronic food insecurity in our country.
Taiwan's ambassador to Eswatini says his country, together with Eswatini, will continue making headways in attaining the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which emphasizes on ending hunger in the world. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Fortune Dlangamandla and Muzim Konda in Matapa.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, has reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting businesses which were affected by the recent civil unrest in Eswatini. The minister made this commitment in a statement on the current investment climate in the kingdom.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says the ministry has recognized that it is critical for the ministry to take firm action in supporting businesses that were affected by the recent civil unrest in Eswatini by finding ways, both regulatory and through negotiation with different stakeholders, to speed up the restoration of Eswatini's economy. The minister says some of these interventions include talks with the insurance industry, fuel wholesalers, logistics services, regulators, and others to see what measures can be put in place to expedite the return to normal business. The minister says his ministry is fully aware of the losses suffered by SMEs who both supported and serviced communities in which they operated prior to the unrest, but were unfortunately caught between the violence that occurred during the civil unrest in Eswatini. Minister Khumalo gives full assurance that the ministry is also fully tapping into the support offered to the business community by the ministry's parastatals, such as the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority, which is driving support initiatives for both local and international investors who have either set up shop in the country or intend in entering in the market in the future. In the same statement, the minister also reaffirmed that the Ministry of Finance has also joined hands to educate businesses on the mechanisms available for them to ease pressure on their balance sheets during this time. He says this has involved consultation with the local tax authority, the Eswatini Revenue Authority, and others. The minister says now is the time for stakeholders in Eswatini to embrace the common objective of increasing investment within the country's borders to ultimately drive an inclusive economy. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube in Babane.
12 women have succumbed to death after giving birth in the country, which increases the rate of postnatal fatalities locally. This was revealed by the United Nations Population Fund during the commemoration of the World Population Day at the Hilton Garden Hotel in Babane.
In 2019, 30 women succumbed to death shortly after delivery at various hospitals in the kingdom. Last year, the country lost 22 women, and since the beginning of the year, 12 women have lost their lives in the delivery room. These shocking statistics were shared by the United Nations Population Fund during the commemoration of the World Population Day 2021.
Our Population Day message is to reiterate the fact that even in crisis, access to SRH services has to be there, including all RH commodities, as we have seen from Rachel. Actually, the issue of RH commodities, Honorable Minister, goes just beyond family planning. Even those that are critical for maternal health survival are in short supply.
The Minister for Planning, Dr. Tambo Kina, says government will strengthen youth programs and interventions to ensure that the country reaps the benefits of the current demographic dividend.
73% of Eswatini are classified as the youth. It is important that they are provided with the requisite services, especially on reproductive health services, regardless of the prevailing fertility rate. They remain the future of our country, and proper care will result in the country being in a position to harness, benefit, reap benefits of the demographic dividend. The success in harnessing the dividend is not automatic, but is dependent on the implementation of appropriate policies. The ability of the country in providing youth-friendly reproductive health services as a priority will enhance our chances of success in harnessing the dividend as healthy people are more productive.
The minister assured Eswatini that government will continue to strengthen health services, the education sector, ICT, for the benefit of all Eswatini, especially young people. For Eswatini TV News, I'm LinkedIn Gule in Babane.
For Finance, Nwerkenberg, has asked Parliament to thoroughly apply itself when amending the Regional Development Fund regulations. The minister was speaking in the House of Assembly shortly after the adoption of a motion moved by Honourable Mduduzi Matsebula, which is calling for the amendment of the RDF regulations.
When the House of Assembly resumed its parliamentary business on Thursday, Spotosini Member of Parliament Mduduzi Matsebula continued to motivate his motion where he wants the Minister of Finance to review the regulations of the Regional Development Fund. He says Eswatini should benefit from the fund individually. For now, the fund requires Eswatini who want to benefit to form an association from at least 10 members. Matsebula says the fund should allow individuals to benefit. Matsebula was seconded by Zombodze Muva, Member of Parliament Muzik Nene. The Minister for Finance, Neil Reckenberg, welcomed the motion. However, he called upon the House to apply its mind when making the amendments to ensure that the fund remains relevant.
Giving grants to someone, let's just use the example of a shopkeeper, getting a grant now to buy his stock, and he's competing with someone who's either taken a loan or that through his sweat equity has built up his stock in his shop. We need to be careful that we don't create imbalance in society. We don't create imbalance in we have a capitalistic environment is the system that we run. It's not a socialistic environment. This is going a bit more down a socialistic road, which developing countries can't afford, unfortunately. So we do need to all keep that in mind, Honourable. So if I can please request, Honourable Speaker, I would like to request that I accept this motion, that we'll have a good look at it. If I can also, I do have my committees. We will be meeting next week because of the bills that have been placed and work that's outstanding. We've had commitment that we'll be sitting with the committees next week. I would like to take this and unpack it strategically with the committees, and obviously I'll still bring it back, but I'll do it in consultation so that we make sure that what we bring is really intended to empower the RDFs, empower the Tinkundla centers, empower the Maswati, especially the SMEs, but at the same time not create any imbalance or not create something that might actually ultimately hurt more out there and ultimately undermine the good that we plan to do.
The Minister has been given 30 days to bring a report to the House. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Lincoln Gule in Parliament.
Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs Polilisha Kantu says the launch of the Small Claims Court marks a significant step in harnessing access to justice for the citizens of Eswatini. The minister said this during the virtual launch of the Small Claims Court, which was also attended by Chief Justice Peggy Maphalala.
Speaking during the launch of the Small Claims Court, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs Polilisha Kantu said courts are an integral part of service delivery in any setup. As such, they are medium through which many aspects of society can be positively impacted. Minister Shakantu further stated that the rollout of the Small Claims Court in the country has come at an opportune time when the country and the world over is faced with huge economic meltdown. As a result, this court will assist in uplifting the country's economy in a very big way. Minister Shakantu also highlighted that the small entrepreneurs will feel the impact of this court in their businesses. The jurisdiction of these courts is 20,000 Malangeni, and it will alleviate the need to engage counsel and approach either the High Court or Magistrate Courts at a cost higher than the debt being pursued. Minister Shakantu also revealed that this mechanism will also assist in speeding up the completion of cases involving monetary claims. The minister further says the rollout of this court is viewed by the minister as a major achievement as it meets a key thematic goal under the ease of doing business stipulated by the Strategic Action Plan of 2019-2023. Chief Justice Peggy Maphalala, who was also present during the launch, says the Small Claim Court will help to enhance the sector.
Declaring that the Small Claim Courts are officially launched and that they will commence operations on Monday, on the 3rd of August 2021.
Chief Justice Maphalala then thanked the ministry and all the stakeholders for making sure that the Small Claims Courts ended up being a success in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Zodwa Adlamini, Babane.
Following the recent unrest in the country, which resulted in shops being looted, the agriculture sector suffered at least 11 million emalangeni in losses. This was revealed by Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza in an interview with Eswatini TV.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says following the looting of food in shops during the recent unrest, the ministry, as a means to ensure food security and stability, will give 1 million seedlings to farmers who are registered under NAMPOD for free. Minister Mabuza says the country is in shortage of vegetables like green pepper, onions, tomatoes, as well as sweet potatoes. The minister assures the nation that despite the looting and vandalism, the country will not run out of food.
We're really affected, and the loss that they incurred just because of the looting was just around 11 million emalangeni, which that includes rice, meal, beans, vegetables, fruits, oils, etc. It was very, very unfortunate because the agriculture sector is a very important sector for the country in terms of food security. But that said, to our farmers, this has created an opportunity. So it is very important for our farmers to take advantage.
The minister says the looting of shops occurred in a period of time when the Ministry of Agriculture has been calling upon households to have backyard gardens through the Asidle Kwethu program. He says through this program, the country can be in a position to produce enough food. He says the ministry's home economists are currently out in the communities giving assistance to underprivileged Emaswati who want to start gardens or commercial farming ventures. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Fortune Dlangamandla and Muzim Konda in Babane.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilakazi, says the time has come for the people of Eswatini to commercialize and professionalize the waste management and recycling sector instead of the kingdom exporting huge quantities of waste to other countries that process it. The minister was speaking in a waste management for improved livelihoods and resilience initiative at the Royal Villa Hotel in Eswatini.
The Minister of Tourism and Environment, Moses Vilakazi, says Eswatini is currently losing millions of emalangeni in waste that is either left to rot or shipped out to other countries which have commercialized waste management and recycling initiatives. Addressing participants who attended a waste management for improved livelihoods workshop, the minister encouraged especially women and the youth to make good use of opportunities such as UNDP's 9 million emalangeni funding for waste management.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs established a resource mobilization committee which was able to unlock finance from UNDP Eswatini for a project titled Waste Management for Improved Livelihoods and Resilience to the tune of US 600,000, which converts to 9 million emalangeni. The project is aimed at responding to the waste challenges that the country is faced with, particularly focusing on fostering a holistic approach to waste management by creating a sustainable value chain and economy in order to minimize pollution and other negative externalities from the waste sector. Sound management of waste is fundamental in meeting the country's commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement.
Speaking in the same workshop through virtual platforms, UNDP Residents Representative Ross Sebatindire said the solutions to waste management in Eswatini require collective efforts and innovating thinking by all stakeholders across the entire waste value chain. Drawing the successes of the Phatha Sakho Nawe campaign of shops not issuing plastics in Eswatini in some days, Sebatindire said Eswatini has displayed great potential in reducing waste and creating value for it. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwatube at Ezulwini.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, has officially launched the Federation of Cooperatives in the country. The federation was introduced during the celebration of International Day of Cooperatives.
The International Day of Savings and Credit Cooperatives is normally celebrated on the 3rd of July annually. However, in Eswatini this year, this day was not commemorated on the specified date. Speaking during the commemoration event, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, said besides celebrating the day, he also launched the Federation of Eswatini Cooperatives.
Thula esiveni ukuthi letinhlangano tonke letikhona setine federation yato lapho tonke ngehlukana kwato tita affiliate khona saphindze-ke sathula mhlambe nale executive yale federation saseke kwesithathu sathola-ke i-advisory board sethula i-advisory board yema-cooperatives leta advisor minister waka-commerce kanye nelitiko ngetindzaba tema-cooperatives kubuka lokuthi lo msebenzi uqhubeka kanjani. Siyakhutsata kakhulu lokuthi ema-cooperatives ikakhulu ebantu labasha nabomake akasebenze emimangweni le misebenzi lemikhulu yahulumende ifike lemimangweni ikhanzela ama-cooperatives aqinile.
The minister speaks on the importance of setting up cooperatives for Eswatini people and especially the youth and women in communities. In April this year, 29 savings and credit cooperatives, which are under the Eswatini Association of Savings and Credit Cooperatives SASCO Insurance Wing, will share a profit of 639,077 emalangeni profit. For Eswatini TV News, Wendlovu with Fortune Dlangamandla and Muzimkonda at Ezulwini.
The Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, MVA, has donated a state-of-the-art ambulance to the Ministry of Health's Emergency Preparedness Unit. The ambulance, which is worth 2.4 million emalangeni, was handed over by MVA's Chief Executive Officer David Mnyeni to the Director of Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Vusi Makakula, in a handover event held at the MVA headquarters in Babane.
The Motor Vehicle Accident Fund is donating a second ambulance to the Ministry of Health's Emergency Preparedness Unit, popularly known as 977, in a space of 4 months this year, as the fund gave its first ambulance to the unit in March. MVA Chief Executive Officer David Mnyeni announced that the fund plans to give up to 6 ambulances to the EPR unit by the end of December 2021. The donations and support that MVA gives to the EPR unit follow a memorandum of understanding signed by the two entities.
We have to collaborate with the EPR to ensure that the person is able to be attended from the accident scene, evacuated to the hospital center where he or she will receive the treatment and rehabilitation. And also we collaborate with the health centers that have to provide the medical care to those that have been affected in the crash.
Receiving the ambulance, the Director of Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Vusi Makakula, emphasized the importance of partnerships between government and private sector institutions.
We probably will not be able to function on our own without assistance from partners. So we really value this kind of interaction. Look also at prevention. We develop strategies to ensure that we prevent as much as we can the occurrence of this. So again, this stresses the importance of partnering with people who actually care about us as human beings so that we may reduce the chances, let alone the golden hour and all, the fact that we'll get there and do the work.
MVA has also made an undertaking to assist the EPR units in managing and servicing the fleet of ambulances. MVA will also provide assistance with fuel. For Eswatini TV News, Wendlovu with Mbongwadube in Babane.
And now let's have a look at our financial markets. Good evening once again. You're still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Manzini Wanderers Football Club women team will face South African club Mamelodi Sundowns in the inaugural Total Energies CAF Women's Champions League COSAFA qualifiers that will be played from August 26 to September 4th. The draw took place in South Africa.
COSAFA will for the first time host a club tournament which will be used as a form of qualifiers for the Total Energies CAF Women's Champions League. The tournament will be played in a mini-tournament format where 7 teams will be split into 2 groups. Eswatini will be represented by Manzini Wanderers, who won the last local league. They were drawn in Group A along South African Mamelodi Sundowns ladies team, Lesotho Defence Force ladies team, and Double Action ladies from Botswana. Manzini Wanderers ladies head coach, speaking in a telephonic interview, says they believe they will make it to the semi-finals.
We have to be equal to the task. Otherwise, to me, it is the first time we do have a chance of qualifying the top 2.
In Group B, there is Green Buffaloes from Zambia, Black Rhinos from Zimbabwe, and Tura Magic from Namibia. The 2 top teams in each group will go to the semi-final stage. The main CAF Women's Champions League will be played next year and will be hosted by Egypt. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi with Linda Dlamini, and pictures are sourced from COSAFA TV.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. The government of Taiwan, together with World Vision Taiwan International, have donated large quantities of rice to Eswatini worth 57 million emalangeni. The Minister for Finance has asked Parliament to thoroughly apply itself when amending the Regional Development Fund regulations. The Minister of Agriculture says the sector suffered losses amounting to over 11 million emalangeni during the recent unrest. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thanks for watching. Good night.
You've been supporting us since we opened our doors, so we're here for you. 1,000 SPAR customers will win their shopping for free, instantly, with SPAR Rewards. Come in and get Nestle Cremora for just $29.99 and Koo Baked Beans in tomato sauce. Buy 3 for only 30 emalangeni. We're here for you.